Higher education has been under fire for many years. This is in part justified. And I go over this in the section of this website entitled Understanding the First Quarter of the 21st Century. There you'll find an articulation of what has happened in the country and the ideas and authorship that followed that mainly comes down the academic pipeline. There I'll disseminate some information that has to do with the authors and the writings and the books and the literature that has caused such a disruption in the higher education field. Particularly now we see this erupting in politics and notions of social justice and what have you. So there is reason to be critical of higher education. And again, that is in part what certain sections of this website deals with. But there's also some misconceptions that are being had when it comes to scrutinizing higher education. And one of those is that people oftentimes criticize academia or academics for not being on the application side of theories. Academics are commonly scrutinized for being researchers or only theoretical, but not having enough practical or application experience. But the fact is that we need people in society that are dedicated to research. It is those that are dedicated to research and teaching that will then go on to teach those that will come up with applications for, like, say, new technologies. Not everyone that goes into academia or is in academia or comes out of academia needs to be focused on technology or some kind of material application of their knowledge. It is quite the contrary, in fact. You will always find that there's more researchers than there are someone who produces a product or something tangible through their research. And again, this is something that academics are scrutinized for, of only being theoretical, or only being writers, or only being people that can understand heady ideas and principles. But we need people that understand heady ideas and principles, because that information inevitably gets trickled down and funneled down into simpler ideas and manifests in our life in different ways, and oftentimes very meaningful ways. Something that always comes to mind when I'm speaking of subjects of this kind is Einstein's theory of relativity. Now, he changed the whole landscape of how we do science. He was a theoretical guy, but his theories affected now in the ways that we partake in engineering. His theory affected the ways we partake in aerospace science. His theories now change the ways that we think of creating energy with nuclear power. Einstein did not create nuclear power plants, but he created ideas that help people create nuclear power plants. Another example we can give in this situation is sports. There is only one Michael Jordan. There are a lot of other great players as well. But just because there's only one Michael Jordan that applied the facility of being able to play basketball at such a high level doesn't mean that no one else should play basketball. We need all those parts. We need the rest of the team. And just because most of the other players will likely not be as good as Michael Jordan doesn't mean that they shouldn't participate in basketball. It is also the case that everyone involved in basketball doesn't need to play at such a high level as Michael Jordan did, because we still need those involved in the field that maybe aren't players at all, but are actually coaches who have a good understanding and facility for the game and can be able to coach and teach players to become the next Michael Jordan. It is just the same in academia. Not every academic needs to be an entrepreneur. Now, I say this because, again, in our time, there is quite a good resurgence and spirit of wanting to be more entrepreneurial and partaking in business and wanting to change the world for the good of society and wanting to come up with new and innovative ideas and products and such. And that's all well and good, but we shouldn't try to criticize or come down on or belittle the work that the researchers do that actually helps those that innovate. Academics, like scientists, physicists, and really any of those in research fields inevitably help to inform those industries that are partaking in developing innovative ideas, which will then trickle down into innovating advantageous products for us to use in society. So there's nothing wrong with someone wanting to be or operating as a fully committed academician who only does research and doesn't partake in the applied side. There's advantages to both. I would in fact say that it's probably best to be somewhere in the middle.